Okay, I'm excited today to be here with Callie. Um, it says Troutman on your screen, but I think a lot of people know you as Dwynell too. Which do you prefer to go by?
Um, right now I'm just by Troutman, not for any particular reason, but eventually I will change my name to Dwynell.
Okay, so getting that out of the way, Callie is amazing. I have known her for a long time. I don't know if we're going on how many years now?
I would say the same age as our daughters, so 14, almost 15 years.
Yeah, a long time. So Callie was one of the first people I met when I had moved here to Vero. So she's known me through my journey and mothering and everything.
And I can say the same about you, knowing
Yeah.
me in a lot of phases.
Yes. So I wanted to bring to the public a little discussion with Callie about some of her offerings that she has for the community, just so that it's out there and people are aware. Um, Yeah, so I first thought we'd talk a little bit, Callie, about your journey to becoming a childbirth educator and doula, if you want to share a little bit of that.
Well, I mean, it all originated from becoming a mother. When I turned 26 years old, I had my daughter, so 15 years ago. Um, I just was really inspired with a birth education class that I took with Linda Roberts. And I had never been given that perspective before on birth, how, your surges, the contractions can mimic the waves of the ocean. And I was like, wow, what a beautiful perspective rather than being scared. I felt more empowered. So as my journey continued into motherhood and mostly postpartum, I started to walk into the La Leche League, and the leader, Pam, invited me to become a leader, and just feeling like that feeling of holding space for others and understanding and having that empathy really felt empowering for myself and for the other people to continue in confidence on their journey. So that led me to being a doula. And just as recently, I've stepped into birth education. That's something that kind of fell into my path. And I really enjoy it a lot. It's nice to bring community together.
Yes, and it's such vital work. I feel like we're in a different age of birth preparation than we have been in a long time. We have the rise of social media and TikTok and Instagram, and lots of people putting out very short videos on
Hmm.
birth, which gives little, I would say, tidbits or appetizers, but not a full course, not the main dish. Some of the
Hmm.
information is great. It might just highlight a birthing position. And some information out there is questionable, and people putting things on there just to get clicks, but may not be solid information. So I think that like we're in an interesting era of confronting all of these possible myths, but also a lot of broad, vast knowledge that is available to a lot of people.
I agree with you there. I think that it's wonderful to have an expansive, foundation for birth because what I'm finding out, the more I dive into this, the most crucial thing I can do is have an open mind. You know, so if I'm in and offering information factual, it's going to be somewhat evidence based and based off of experiences. And also, I'm not going in there telling you this is how your journey is going to be if you follow this. It's more or less going to be like, let's work on empowering you on the knowledge and wisdom of birth and how every woman and family has twists and turns on that journey. So it's about really finding your confidence and feeling like that sense of surrender when things don't necessarily turn out how you had hoped for. And maybe they will turn out exactly like you hoped for, but it's embracing that unique journey. You have your own blueprint of how it's going to be, and there's no control over it. It's all about kind of trusting and letting go and trusting your body.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like hypnobirthing where people learn about how to relax their mind and get into a calm state for birth. I did that with my second. And there's lots of iterations on hypnobirthing, Christian hypnobirthing, hypnobabies. It's lots of variety, but very similar philosophies. I like the idea of orgasmic birth and that birth could be different than painful. It could be pleasurable for some women. I've seen that rarely, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing I am having a problem with is the specific course that's called pain-free birth. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of people sign up for that, pay this woman lots of money because she's saying, do these things and you have a pain-free birth. And then get very disappointed when their birth was not pain-free. So I think that she is very clever in collecting money from people. Um, but I think that we need a childbirth education program that describes a spectrum of responses to the sensations of labor, and then
Mm-hmm.
how do we move through those and how do we deal with those?
Yeah, I think that type of context can set women up for disappointment and they feel like failure, which is not something that's not our intention as birth educators and doulas and midwives and whoever is in the birth world as a practitioner. It's about empowerment. So while the only positive I see about her techniques, I don't really like the name. I think it narrows down what the birth experience can be. um, we shouldn't push down pain and anger. If that's something that comes up in your journey, that could be a powerhouse for moving you forward. So to say that you're not going to feel that actually limits the woman. And I feel like that's less empowerment, really. Um, but the only thing that I do find a positive in it is that she, like hypnobirthing, maybe she has tools that do offer women more ease and grace in their labor, in their journey. However, it is somewhat inconsiderate to me to narrow it down to this is how your birth is going to be. And that limits the room for abundance and possible, miracles that will come in that the mother didn't even expect in her journey. So I do agree with you there on that.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your birth classes, the topics that you love talking about, and what a typical class with you looks like.
So I usually take about 2 hours. It could be a little less. Sometimes it's a group setting, and sometimes it's just two, the partner and the birthing woman. But the class's foundation is based off of the different phases of labor, maybe what to expect, also not limiting it to that, sharing different experiences that may happen for different women, just depending on what's going on with them in their body and their emotions. And then in each labor phase, we discuss different modalities, a variety of techniques for comfort. And then we move into tips for the partner. Sometimes partners, um, it can be emotional to watch your wife go through something so big, and you can't help but have those emotions and those nerves, and she's not there emotionally to support you. So I can see at times if there's not a doula or if the midwives or OBs more focused on mothers, partner feels a little bit helpless, not knowing how to support, how to help. So we go over quite a bit of that hands on and talking about it. If there's usually in my courses, there the partner does join, which I love, and we can participate quite a bit. And then if it's in a group, there's a nice little community, and the dads or wives or doulas, they all feel like a sense of camaraderie with one another, which I think is nice too. Um, so we go over quite a bit in 2 hours, and that's why I send home a little folder of literature basically covering everything we talked about. And we will go over different positionings to help discomfort in pregnancy with your growing body, and also in labor to help you get through each phase.
Yeah. And I think that hands-on practice is very critical. I think that
I
that's the difference between a dad who is scared and a dad who is ready, is because he
agree.
has been there, he has practiced these positions, he's had communication with his wife. Okay, I like my sacrum touch like this. I like this amount of pressure. Oh, Callie reminded me I should squeeze the hips like this. Like that hands-on practice before the big day is critical. You know, it's different reading about it in a book than actually doing it.
Yeah, and a dad who knows how to handle a rebozo, they're strong. Like they're really strong. It doesn't take much for them to really bring on the pressure that that mom might need. So we need that strength while going through a labor, that physical strength. And I think it's important that dads see how important they are in this scenario. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I love how you support the partners. I think that's so, so important for all types of births. Yeah.
we need. Another thing I wanted to touch on the partners is, you know, sometimes you can do that hip squeeze and that's what we go over and she's like not anymore, and then she might want it again in 5 minutes, but it's all about being confident and taking the chances on the different techniques. And if she might snap a little bit, knowing not to take it personally as much as possible, and if you are taking it personally, taking a step out, getting a breath of fresh air, making sure you've eaten and taking care of yourself, because right now she's just going through so many different things. So it has nothing to do with the dynamic of your relationship, and reminding them of that, I think, can be helpful too.
Yeah, labor and birth is a time like no other time that has happened before in your relationship.
It's true.
And
We
there's
need
a,
the strength.
yeah, there is a variety of responses um, to labor on the part of men. I know that with my first, Ken seemed scared and maybe crying. And with my second, you were there, and he had realized that he likes setting out snack trays and support and really enjoyed having a doula there to do a lot more of the hands-on stuff too. So we learn as we go through births what our skill sets are.
There's that sense of acceptance in the relationship of the capabilities and how much someone can handle emotionally, and being accepting of it, with ease and grace, not so much like, oh, he didn't do this for me. No, this was his strength, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah. So for anybody who didn't know, I had one doula with my first birth, and I had two doulas for my second birth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
I love doulas. They're so amazing. Okay, so some of the other offerings you have, I know that you're really great at doing some prenatal stretching and preparing of the body for birth. You came to the office yesterday. We had a great stretching session. We got some fun pics, which I'll post with this video. And tell me
Mhm.
a little bit about your offerings there.
Well, there's a few different parts with that. It's strengthening, it's stretching, and some breath work. The strengthening and the stretching, really, we focus on the pelvic area, the hips. So we're strengthening the hips and then working on opening the muscles and balancing out the hips and the pelvic area. But this helps with that, like when you're in your pregnancy phase, growing, you feel discomforts and different sensations. Being able to bring attention to areas, opening up the back gently, can really help a more support body move into the labor. And this can, if you have, the more balanced your hips are, easier it is for your baby to usually become engaged and get into a proper ovulation, which equals to an easier labor. Not easy labor, smoother. Um, and that also, you work through anything that might be emotional, or you feel these different sensations as the baby moves down into position. So the more you work with stretching and strengthening, you're feeling those sensations already pre-birth. So you're not as shocked whenever the baby kind of moves down into the canal. You're like, oh, that's my baby moving down into my canal. I'm opening up more and more because you're empowered and you're aware and you're in tune with, and even better, through all that strengthening that you did, in muscles in the glutes and the hips can help with recovery. So then you feel even more empowered and better in your postpartum period, which is just as important because it's a very vulnerable time. Then the thing that I love the most is the breath work. The more that we work on our breath work, our diaphragm mimics our pelvic floor. So the more in tune they are together, the more your pelvic floor your pelvis can open up with more ease. It also puts you in less stress. Your system activates. You come into a more calm situation. Even if everything's feeling a bit out of control, you can always come back to your breath and focus. It's very normal to get off track, like you can't do this, and you have no more energy. Alone is something you can control and focus on. It brings you into a more balanced place. So you can use that through your prenatal period, feeling anxious about the future. You come back to your breath. You can use that in between surges or during surges. The more you practice it when you're pregnant, it comes naturally into your labor. And in postpartum, it's normal to feel a bit anxious and have your hormones kind of all over the place, but coming back to a breath work can settle you down and make you feel more present with yourself and your baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you are so good at that. Yesterday during our session, I thought I knew most every exercise, but you taught us a new exercise that I had never heard, and that really was opening my left hip that I didn't even realize was tight in that area. So I think that someone who's doing stretching with you regularly is probably going to have an easier birth because things are going to be loose and open and balanced and help the baby find their way out easier.
Well, thank you. I mean, they say that in our hips, we hold the most tension and the most emotions. And during our laboring journey, a lot of different things come up that we didn't even realize were there. So, working through all the nooks and crannies, doing different deep hip exercises, nice, slow, gentle openings can help us kind of see what's coming up and what needs to come up to clear the way. It's in our fascia, in our muscles, and the more that we can release, the more of a clear path the baby has to come into the world.
Definitely. Okay, so you offer the childbirth classes, you offer the stretching. The other thing I know that you do is a beautiful Blessingway ceremony. Um, so you were there at mine, and I've been there at many others, and you did the one for my sister as well, Julie. And for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I'll have you talk more on it, but a blessing way is a very special way to honor a mother, um, to be it's really about focusing on that transformation and that journey into motherhood more so than a baby shower. Some people combine them and might do a little of both, but a baby shower, a lot of people are familiar with that. People bring presents. It's all about the baby and fun and silly games. But the blessing way is like this sacred ceremony of people pausing to recognize the hugeness of this transformation in this woman. Um, so tell me a little bit more about blessing ways and how you got into them and what you offer there.
Well, the blessing with nutrition, and it usually a group of women, the closest women in your life. It can be a man, a few men too. Sometimes women have their partners there, their husbands there, but it's the people that you can feel safest with, and be most vulnerable with attend. And they usually bring a dish, and everybody has a potluck at the end, and it's just a nice day of community. The first blessing away I ever did, and I had been wanting to navigate them a little bit more, was yours. Well, I didn't do it. You included me big time into it. And I was so nervous, but so excited, and it was very beautiful. Um, However, continuing on that path, your blessing away kind of built that foundation for me to hold space and realize, like you mentioned, it's not really about the material gifts like a baby shower is, which is a baby showers are very nice. But the tradition is more like the gift that you bring is an open heart for the mother and holding that space of unconditional love so she can safely open up, and just everybody's sort of flowing on her energy and her personality and her needs. And sometimes there's a lot of tears coming out, and sometimes there's a lot of laughter. Many times there's both. But it's just about coming together and aligning our hearts. And then she can carry that energy off into her labor. I know there's many times that you've told me, at least once or twice, where a woman's in transition and it's just a really intense moment for her and she thinks she cannot move on. And you've reminded her, remember your beautiful blessing away and all the support that's still around you. And all of a sudden, she just has this wave of confidence, this wave of energy, and she pushes through. So maybe all those people wouldn't be there physically, but they have planted seeds in you and you remember them and the words that they've given you. And I know I didn't forget mine. It helped me through my labor, just knowing that I had people that believed in me and saw me for who I was and still loved me.
Yes, yes. And I think that's the key, it's like a bringing together of your closest tribe members to be like, these are the people thinking for you, about you and praying for you. There's so many different things you could incorporate into a blessing way. I think it originated with the Cherokee people of doing this
Oh, not
blessing
the
way.
Navajo.
I don't
I thought
know.
it was
We'll have
it
to,
was a Navajo tribe. Yeah.
okay. Um,
But
So some of the
go ahead.
things that I really liked, so a lot of blessing ways will close with a string ceremony where everyone puts a little bit of string around their arm or their leg. And so every time you look at this little string bracelet you have, you say a prayer or send good positive energy to the birthing mama, and that nobody cuts off their strings until after she's had the baby. And so that keeps a kind of like a memory that I need to be sending love, support, and possibly food over to this woman, not just on the day of the blessing way, but for many months to come.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. There's a lot of different offerings that can be incorporated in the ceremony. And usually, if someone approaches me about facilitating a blessing away, I send them a list of the offerings and they kind of create their own ceremony. They give me a little list of everything they would like to have incorporated. And I create a flow for them. I send it to them and I help that flow take place. Just like a labor, a birth, it can have little twists and turns. And that's my job as a facilitator, to keep that space open for the grace of those twists and turns for an organic flow.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. And
Mhm.
so I love that. I love all of the healing work that can be done. Sometimes people are massaging hands or feet or shoulders. Some
Yeah.
people are making a flower crown or a beautiful wreath or necklace for the mom. I remember I had a necklace made where everyone brought a bead that symbolized something relating to motherhood, and then I wore it during labor. I wore nothing else but that necklace.
You did. You still have that necklace around too.
I do. I feel
Well,
like it carries a lot of, good memories for me and a memory of my tribe, and I keep it hanging in my car, like around the mirror.
you do.
Hmm.
So something else that I love about blessing aways, I mean, I think I've been to at least 100 over the past, 13 years. And I've never been to one that hasn't been beautiful. It's just the energy is something that you cannot deny. It's so loving, so kind. And I feel like everybody, regardless of who they are in the community as a title or their beliefs or whatever it is, those masks, any masks come off and you're just sitting there in your heart space. So I've seen so many things happen where the mom's a little nervous because she doesn't want to offend loved ones that believe in this or believe in that. And she's not sure how this ceremony will come across, but she'd like those individuals there present because they matter to her a lot. And I'm there to reassure her that this is about her and we can cater to whatever makes her feel comfortable and we can eliminate what doesn't make her feel comfortable. And by doing that and holding that space for that openness, so many beautiful things to come together. Like I think at your sister's blessing away, you had relatives praying over her feet, and everybody was just giving their love that was aligned with them, and it was all very accepted. And I just thought that was a really beautiful thing to witness.
It was so beautiful. Yeah. And it was special because she didn't know she would be pregnant, and
Right.
it was such a beautiful blessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. It is the Navajo. I was wrong. Yeah.
No, it's okay. I think I mentioned it, and so
Uh-huh.
it's all right.
And apparently they do it for a lot of different life transitions.
I
It's
can see that. I can see that. I mean, I initially last year at this time organized a blessing away workshop, and I think maybe there was three of us doulas in there. That's what ended up. It originally had all doulas signed up, about 12 doulas signed up to learn about the blessing away,
hmm
and then it all kind of fell off, and I started inviting just people that I wanted to get to know in the community or who I admired or I had been friends with for a while. And I just, took a leap of faith and I was like, well, I really wanted to include you in this. And they weren't necessarily doulas, but it's funny, they don't call themselves that, but what they do in their life, how they support others, they are a doula, maybe not necessarily birth, or other areas. So I agree with that 100%. We all need our cheerleader and our wise woman when we're going through something big, or wise man, when we're going through something really transformational in life.
Yes, for sure. So, yeah, any other offerings that you want to talk about?
Basically, that's it. I just love to hold space for, anybody that's going through something big, especially birth. I have a lot of wisdom and knowledge that I've gained a lot from you. You've been a great mentor in my life, so I have to show you that gratitude for sure. A lot of things that I do share, I received from working with you and our friendship. Um, I do offer energy healing, and just to brush up on what the energy healing entails, my only intention when I hold space for a healing session is to offer unconditional love. So the energy that I'm giving to the recipient is that divine unconditional love. It's not my intention to fix your broken knee or your broken heart, but I'm there to hold space for you while you go within and facilitate it yourself. So it could be as simple as a confession of, I'm terrified of moving forward. And I'm there with you, whether you say it or not, verbally, holding that space, reflecting back that love of non judgment, not trying to fix you, not trying to put my ideas into how you should do it better. It's just more or less showing that compassion while you're moving through something. I think oftentimes we don't necessarily need external validation, but how nice it is to sit with someone who offers a friendship while we're trying to go through something big. And a lot of us have been taught to just shove it down. And really, you can pretend you're shoving it down, but it will manifest one way or another. So the energy healing helps move that life force, the vitality through. So you can either just acknowledge where you could use some healing, or you can work through it and walk through it and bring it to the surface and feel it, and having somebody hold that space for you can be very supportive in the process. I think I lost you. I can't hear you. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I'm back. Sorry,
You
I
are?
accidentally muted myself. Yeah, I was just going to say that I think that I've received so much from you through the years. Callie is so amazing at developing community all around her. She has a beautiful home and yard and chickens and bees and gardens and grows herbs And so she has invited so many people to share the love on her home and taught so many people so many things without regard to payment or anything like that. I think that you're someone who truly trusts in the divine to provide for you, and you provide so much empathy and care for other people. So if you are blessed to know Callie, and blessed to
Thank
get
you.
to know some of her offerings, you will not regret it. I can fully endorse her as someone who you will be thankful that you have in your life.
Oh, thank you, Angie. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. And for those of
Well,
you
I
who
can say
don't
the same
know,
about you.
oh, for those who don't know, Callie was the office manager in my office for how many years before Becky came?
3.5.
Three and a
Yep,
half.
3.5.
Yeah, so she
And
was
then,
the one who really helped get us started in our office. And for those who have clients that or were clients of mine a long time, you knew her pretty well.
yeah, we did a lot together.
Hmm. Yeah.
We had some good times.
And you have two beautiful children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coraline, who's 15, she's grown up with Violet, Angie's daughter. It's how Angie and I met through our girls. And then Zen, who will be 6 in April.
Hmm. Yeah. And you've experienced a variety of birth. How many births do you think you've been to?
I would like to say close to 100.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm hitting that number, getting there.
Hmm. You've served as a
I can't say
doula.
hundreds. Excuse
Mhm.
me.
You've served as a doula for many, many women. Hmm.
Some
Hmm.
assisting you and Jordan and a couple other midwives at times in the
Yeah.
area.
You've been to home birth and hospital births.
Yeah, I used to be more uncomfortable with the hospital births, but as
Mhm.
I entered back in a few years ago, I feel more grounded. Um, I just feel like it's very helpful to accept that certain people feel comfortable in certain settings and helping them feel empowered in their journey wherever they are at, and accepting and surrendering to the process. So I love being there wherever a parent would choose to birth.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. So at the after we finish this, I'll put ways to contact you in the notes so people can find their way to you either by email or texting or calling.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that, we're offering space at Midwife Love for these childbirth education classes or some stretching sessions. And so people can come to the office in a comfortable setting. I know that Callie sometimes does things at her beautiful home as well, where you can hear the chickens clucking in the background and leave with a couple eggs. So we got a variety of
And
options.
whatever abundance we have that season,
Yeah.
mangoes or star fruit.
I know that we recently had a freeze, but before the freeze, what was
Mhm.
looking good in your garden?
Well, it's coming back, but slowly but surely. We had a great amount of lemongrass and citronella and moringa, which is great for mothers and breastfeeding mothers. So I'm trying to get some trees going with that. I know that my moringa tree will come back, but it took a hit. Banana trees. We had a bunch of star fruit. Our mango tree had so many blooms, but it's not looking so great right now. It'll come back. It's just we're in a period of transition. It's
Hmm.
all about interrupting the flow.
Yeah. Well, one thing I learned is that moringa is good for the mood. So some people take
Yeah.
moringa as a natural mood enhancer, like if they're feeling a little down or anxious.
Well, when people are low in iron, I believe that your mood very much affected by that. And moringa has a good amount of that in it. So I can see how it would give a good boost if you throw it in a smoothie or drink some tea with it. There's
Mhm.
different ways you can utilize it. Sometimes I just throw it in my salads when I'm
Yeah.
in a hurry. Just throw it in the salads.
Were you growing mother's wort before or cramp bark or something?
One point I was growing mother a couple years ago. I haven't gotten a bush off, like a little bush of it or a bloom of it in a while. But I
Okay.
did have some for a while.
Yeah. So I always admire Callie's green thumb. As a midwife with a hectic schedule and running around and not around for days on end, sometimes my plans die.
It happens. I'm
They
sure if I
really
was in
do.
your position, I'd be there too.
Luckily, my kids are still alive.
You do a good job.
They're to the point where they can feed themselves. But yeah. Yeah. So it's been great chatting with you, Callie. And
Yeah, thank you.
I welcome anyone to reach out to Callie, see what events she has going on, what you can get signed up for, and get this amazing woman into your life. She will be probably
Oh,
a friend for the rest of your life if you get to know her.
thank you so much for giving me some time and space. I loved sharing with you. And I'm
Okay.
open to speaking to anyone and creating events